Robert, stay right there. More reaction now on limiting deductions with a maximum amount in some kind of bucket.
Yeah, we have both sides of this issue. Not surprisingly, Republican strategist Justin Sayfie says it's a good idea because this takes out the political infighting when it comes to which deductions should stay or go. And also, not surprisingly, Democratic strategist Zerlina Maxwell is not a fan of all of this. So, Justin, make the case for the bucket of deductions that Romney talked about during the campaign.
Well, you know, this idea is so simple. It's probably almost too simple for the big thinkers in Washington, D.C. You know, the point is that if you give one amount, whatever that amount is, as a cap on the deductions, that the taxpayers themselves can choose which deduction they want. And it takes it out of all of the infighting that goes on, the lobbyists, the different groups, the different special interests that are constantly lobbying members of Congress to get to protect certain exemptions, and it makes the tax code simple. You can't have a conversation about tax reform in the U.S. without talking about loophole reform, and that's what this would be.
So, Zerlina, you disagree, and you're saying it's not the right approach to solve any problems.
It's not. It's certainly not. I think that, you know, when we're talking about something that Mitt Romney proposed, which he didn't really give any details throughout the entire campaign, and so now that we're going back to one of his proposals after he's lost the election, I think that, you know, President Obama called it a sketchy deal. I think there's a lot of kabuki math going on here.
Yeah, but
and
it was tied.
I don't think that, you know, middle income earners should have to only get one income tax credit, and it only goes up to $25,000, which means that a lot of people would only be able to do one income tax credit and then would have to give up others.
All right. First of all, the $25,000 is just a made-up number at this point. It's not settled on. Second, it was coupled during the campaign with Governor Romney's hope for the tax breaks across the board, which is not likely to happen. So don't you agree that just by itself, the bucket of deductions would give Congress something to hide behind because they don't have to pick and choose. They let the taxpayers choose it. And as Robert Frank pointed out, it raises some money here.
I don't think the taxpayers and the people that voted in the election want Congress to hide behind anything. I think that we voted for a platform that wants taxes raised on high-income earners, and that's what we voted for, and that's what we want. We don't want any cop-outs. We don't want Congress to be able to hide behind and do anything kabuki math, is what I like to call it, to get away with it.
Who has $25,000 in deductions anyway?
People who have child income tax credit, it almost gets them all the way up to that $25,000. And for example, students who rely on tuition credit, they wouldn't be able to do that if they were a student who had children as well.
All right, Justin, we got to pick on you now as well. I mean, the president does feel he had a mandate. He won campaigning to do away with the tax breaks for those making more than $250,000. Not politically popular for about 47% of the people in this country, but don't you feel he's going to have to do something along those lines to meet that mandate?
Look, I do, and I understand that. But at the same time, you know, in the Democratic primary 4 years ago, he criticized the individual mandate proposal that was part of Hillary Clinton's reform, health care reform. But then when he got elected, he adopted that idea. I'm hopeful that perhaps, if you listen to his speech that he gave on election night, he said he wanted to work across the aisle, reach out to Governor Romney. This would be a great example for President Obama to show that he means what he says when he talks about bipartisanship, to take an idea from Governor Romney's and use it as part of an overall tax reform.
Yeah, I mean, look, if the ultimate idea here is we want to extract more dollars from the wealthy as part of a shared sacrifice and entitlement cuts, what does it matter whether you label it a deduction cut or 39.6% tax? Ultimately, you're getting more dollars from this very top group. In fact, this may even be more progressive than 39.6. So I'm a little confused as to why there's so much opposition just because maybe Romney proposed it.
That's right.
And plus, you're simplifying the tax code. That's really an important part of this, is you're eliminating some of those special interest fights and those loopholes that exist.
And Zerlina, let's face it, the election's over. Obama has won, but is there, just because it was a Romney idea, does it make a bad idea?
No, I'm not saying that anything that Romney proposed is a bad idea. I'm saying that it is a fact that he proposed ideas without giving any details. And so we haven't really even heard any of the specifics behind this particular plan, not to mention the fact that voters voted for $250,000 and above for their tax rates to go up. I think that it's not on Obama, it's on Republicans in Congress to make concessions to get to a compromise on this deal.
All right. Well, We'll wait to see what happens.
Yes, we will.
Wait for that white puff of smoke to come out of the Capitol building at some point. Thank you all.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We've got